in the heart of the verdant land of Igbo, where ancient traditions hold sway over the lives of the people, and the whispers of the ancestors echo in every home, a story unfolds. A story of love, wild, fierce, and forbidden, of betrayal, woven deeply into the fabric of kinship and loyalty, of the choices that define our fate and the legacy we leave behind. Adana, the daughter of Chief Udo, is the pride of her family. Her beauty is legendary across the neighboring villages. Her skin, dark and smooth like the richest mahogany, gleams under the African sun. Her eyes, large and expressive, hold both innocence and a fire that cannot be extinguished. At 20, she is poised and graceful, always moving with the kind of elegance that befits the daughter of a chief. Her waist is adorned with coral beads, and her hair, thick and black, is braided with cowries, symbols of wealth and purity. But beneath the calm exterior, Adana harbors a secret so dangerous that, if revealed, it could ruin her family and shatter the peace of her village. Adana is in love, but not with the man her family has chosen for her. Her heart belongs to Obinna, a humble farmer. Obinna is tall, his skin the color of dark earth after the rain. His hands are calloused from years of working in the fields, yet his touch is gentle. He has none of the wealth or status that her father seeks in a suitor, but in his presence, Adana feels alive, like a bird that has been freed from its cage. Their love, however, is forbidden. In Igbo culture, marriage is more than the union of two souls. It is an alliance between families, a binding of bloodlines that ensures prosperity and honor. Adana has already been promised to Chimali, the son of a wealthy merchant from a neighboring village. Chimali is everything a suitor should be: handsome, wealthy, and proud, but he is also cold, calculating, and entitled. He sees Adana not as a partner but as a prize to be won, a jewel to adorn his collection. As the days draw closer to the wedding, Adana's heart grows heavier. She meets Obinna in secret, under the cover of night, where the moonlight filters through the tall trees of the forest, casting soft shadows on their forbidden love. They sit by the stream, where the water murmurs softly, like a song only they can hear. Here, away from the eyes of the village, they can be themselves. They can dream of a future where love is enough. But in their hearts, they know it can never be. The village of Umudik buzzes with excitement as preparations for the wedding begin. Women pound yam in large wooden mortars, their laughter filling the air as they gossip about the upcoming ceremony. The men carve wooden masks and statues, to be placed at the ancestral shrine to bless the union. Drummers practice their rhythms, their beats growing louder each day, building anticipation for the grand event. But inside Adana's home, there is no joy, only the suffocating weight of duty. Chief Udo, Adana's father, is a towering figure in the village. His word is law, and his authority is unchallenged. He walks with the dignity of a man who carries the legacy of his ancestors, his face lined with the years of leadership. His decision to marry Adana to Chimali was not just about wealth, but about securing a powerful alliance that would benefit the entire village. To him, this marriage is not just about Adana's future. It is about the future of Umudik. He cannot see the storm brewing in his daughter's heart. Adana's mother, Neka, is more attuned to her daughter's emotions. A soft-spoken woman with eyes as sharp as a hawk's, she watches her daughter closely. She knows the signs, the way Adana's hands tremble when the wedding is mentioned, the way her eyes dart away whenever Chimali's name is spoken. Neka, too, was once a young woman in love, and she knows what it is to sacrifice for family. But she is bound by tradition, just as Adana is. And though her heart aches for her daughter, she says nothing. The day before the wedding, Adana sneaks out of her home to meet Obinna one last time. The sky is overcast, the air thick with the promise of rain, as though the gods themselves sense the turmoil in her heart. By the stream, where they have met so many times before, Adana falls into Obinna's arms. The smell of earth and rain surrounds them, but today the air feels different, heavy with the knowledge of what is to come. Obinna's heart is pounding in his chest. his voice trembling as he begs her to run away with him. "We can leave," he says, his voice raw with desperation. "We can start a new life far away from here, where no one can tell us who we can love." Adana's heart is torn in two. She wants to say yes. Every fiber of her being yearns to be with Obinna, to choose love over duty. But the weight of her family's expectations is too great. The shame she would bring to her father, her mother, her ancestors. It is too much to bear. "I cannot," she whispers, her voice barely audible over the sound of the rushing stream. Tears streak down her face as she pulls away from Obinna, the love of her life. "My father, my family. I cannot betray them." Obinna's eyes are filled with anguish, but he understands. He knows that in Igbo land, family and tradition are everything. With a heavy heart, he watches as Adana walks away, her figure disappearing into the mist. The rain begins to fall, as though the heavens themselves weep for their lost love. The day of the wedding dawns, and the village is alive with color and celebration. The sky is a brilliant blue, and the scent of fresh palm wine and roasted goat fills the air. Women dance in their brightly colored wrappers, their waist beads jingling with every movement, while the men clap and chant, their deep voices echoing through the village square. Adana stands at the center of it all, dressed in her finest attire. Her George wrapper is a deep royal blue, embroidered with gold, and her neck and wrists are heavy with coral beads. Her face is painted with uli designs, symbols of fertility and prosperity. But despite her regal appearance, her eyes are vacant, her heart 1,000 miles away. Chimali, dressed in an elaborately embroidered agbada, stands beside her, his posture proud and arrogant. He smiles, but there is no warmth in his eyes. To him, this is not a union of love but of power and status. As the elders prepare to bless the marriage, a figure suddenly bursts into the village square. It is Obinna. His face is flushed, his clothes soaked from running through the rain. Gasps ripple through the crowd as he pushes his way toward Adana. The drummers stop playing, and the village falls into a stunned silence. "Adana!" Obinna's voice rings out, filled with desperation. "Please do not do this." Chimali's face darkens with rage, and Chief Udo rises from his seat, his eyes flashing with anger. The villagers watch in stunned silence, their eyes flickering between the lovers and the elders. But Obinna does not care. His love for Adana is too strong to be silenced by fear or tradition. He pleads with her, his voice breaking as he confesses his love in front of everyone. "Adana, I cannot live without you," he cries, his voice raw with emotion. "I know I am not wealthy. I know I am not the man your father wants for you. But I love you more than life itself. Please, do not marry him." Adana's heart pounds in her chest, torn between the love she feels for Obinna and the duty she owes her family. Her father's angry voice echoes in her ears, but so does the soft, desperate plea of the man she loves. Just as she is about to speak, a voice cuts through the tension. "Stop this madness." It is Chimali, but it is not anger that fills his voice. It is fear. The crowd turns toward him, their faces filled with confusion. Chimali's face, once proud and composed, is now pale and panicked. He steps forward, but his usual arrogance is gone, replaced by a trembling uncertainty. For, unbeknownst to the villagers, Chimali has been hiding a dark secret. A secret that, if revealed, would ruin him and bring disgrace to his family. Chimali stands frozen, his eyes darting across the sea of faces watching him in confusion and suspicion. For years, he had cultivated an image of power and respect, but now, as Obinna stands defiant and love-struck before him, his facade begins to crumble. The villagers stir, sensing something is terribly wrong. Chief Udo steps forward, his voice booming across the village square. "Chimali, what is the meaning of this? You disgrace us with your silence." His piercing gaze could melt stone, but Chimali's posture remained shaky. Adana, still standing motionless beside Chimali, feels a shift in the air. The weight of tradition pulls her in one direction, while her heart reaches for Obinna. The village is waiting, the tension so thick it hums through the stillness. Obinna, sensing the moment of truth is near, moves toward Adana, his voice low and resolute. Adana, you know what is in your heart. Don't let fear bind you. Let love be your guide. The crowd murmurs as Chief Udo raises his hand for silence. What is going on here? His deep voice, filled with rage, cuts through the noise like a knife. Chimali clears his throat, trying to muster his usual arrogance. But it's no use. He stammers. I have made promises to others. The wealth I claimed, it is not mine. The revelation hits the crowd like a thunderclap. Gasps ripple through the square, and the faces of the elders harden in disappointment. Adana's breath catches in her throat as she realizes the full extent of Chimali's deceit. Obinna stands firm, his jaw clenched, his eyes locked on Chimali. You lied, Chimali. You planned to marry Adana not for love, but to steal from her family and their lands. Chief Udo's face turns dark with anger. He had arranged this marriage to ensure his family's future, and now it is unraveling before his very eyes. Is this true? He thunders, stepping toward Chimali with the full authority of his lineage. Chimali's body seems to shrink under the pressure of the elders and the village's eyes on him. His voice trembles as he speaks. I needed to save my family's name, he admits. We lost our fortune. I thought if I married Adana, I could rebuild it. Adana steps back, her body shaking with rage and disbelief. You would have used me, lied to me, to my family. Her voice is sharp and filled with hurt, cutting through the air like a whip. The silence that follows her words is overwhelming. The villagers are aghast. The pride of Umudike, the union that was supposed to bring wealth and power, had been built on deceit. Adana's heart pounds in her chest as the truth sinks in. Chimali's betrayal is not just a personal one, but a betrayal of everything her family had hoped for. She had been willing to sacrifice her happiness for the sake of tradition, for the future of her people. But now the truth was out, and the decision was hers. The villagers, still frozen in shock, begin to murmur again, their eyes flicking between Adana and Obinna. The elders remain silent, their weathered faces betraying no emotion, but their disappointment in Chimali is clear. Obinna takes a deep breath and steps closer to Adana. His eyes are filled with love, but also with a quiet understanding of the choice she must make. Adana, you don't have to choose duty over love. You can choose for yourself. Tears well up in Adana's eyes. She looks at Obinna, then at Chimali, who stands defeated, his head hanging in shame. Her heart is torn between the duty she has always known and the love that has been her secret solace. Adana looks up at her father, Chief Udo. His face is stern, but behind his eyes, she can see a flicker of something. Perhaps the realization that his daughter is no longer a child, that she must make her own way. The weight of his expectations feels like a mountain on her shoulders, but for the first time, she feels the strength to stand tall under it. Taking a deep breath, Adana speaks. Her voice is soft, but there is an undeniable strength in it. I cannot marry Chimali, she says, her words ringing out clear in the silence. Not for wealth, not for tradition, and not for the sake of duty. I will not be used as a tool. The villagers gasp. Such defiance, such boldness is rare, especially from a woman in Umudike. But Adana stands firm, her gaze unwavering. I will choose love. I choose Obinna. Obinna's eyes widen in disbelief and joy. He steps toward her, taking her hands in his. The crowd murmurs in surprise, and the village elders exchange glances. But in Adana's heart, there is peace. She knows she is making the right choice, one that is for herself, not just for tradition. The rain that had been threatening all day begins to fall in a light drizzle, almost as if the heavens themselves are blessing the union of Adana and Obinna. The villagers, once shocked, now begin to smile, realizing that love has triumphed over deceit and greed. The drummers, sensing the shift in mood, begin to beat their drums once again, a slow, steady rhythm that builds as the village comes to life. Chief Udo watches his daughter with a mixture of pride and sorrow. He steps forward, his towering figure casting a long shadow over the square. "You have made your choice," he says, his voice deep and heavy. "And though it was not the path I chose for you, I see now that you have the heart of a true leader, one who listens to her own voice." He turns to Chimali, who is still standing in shame. "You have disgraced yourself and your family. Leave Umudike and do not return." The words are final, and Chimali, his shoulders slumped, walks away in silence, disappearing into the mist. As the rain falls gently on the red earth, the village gathers around Adana and Obina. The elders, once so focused on tradition, nod approvingly, perhaps seeing in this young couple a new future for the village, one where love and duty can coexist. Adana and Obina stand side by side, their hands intertwined. They smile at each other, knowing that the road ahead will not be easy, but it will be theirs. Together, the story of Adana and Obina becomes the stuff of legend in Umudike. Their union, born out of defiance and love, brings new life to the village. The old ways are honored, but new traditions are allowed to grow. Adana, once the hidden bride, now becomes a leader in her own right, guiding her people with wisdom and compassion. Obina, the humble farmer, stands by her side, his love for her as strong as the day he first saw her. And though the village continues to prosper, it is not the wealth of Chimali's family that ensures its future. It is the strength of the love that Adana and Obina have built together. The whispers of the ancestors still echo in the land, but now they carry a different message, one of hope, one of change. And so, under the ever-watchful eyes of the ancient trees, the village of Umudike flourishes, guided by the hands of two souls who dared to defy the past and create a new future. Then,